This is Basketball More Than a Game with your hosts, Coach Goins and Coach Quick. Former high school coach and player have teamed up again to share their knowledge of the game and life skills on and off the court. Now here are Coaches G and Q.
All right, this is Coach Goins, and I'm back. And you know what? We are so excited about this week's episode. Like we always say, make sure you got your sneakers on, you got them laced up tight. And you know what? Let me look to my left and see what the hottest co-host is doing. Coach Q, what's popping?
Hey, what's going on, Coach G? You want to know what's popping with Coach Q? Well, I'm so excited about our very special guest tonight in the studio that I feel like I'm on the campus of the Cincinnati Bearcats, sitting inside Fifth Third Arena, waiting on someone to catch it off the rim and throw it down. And after this short break, Coach G is going to come right back and introduce you to our very special guest. So make sure your sneakers are laced up tight.
So listen, via telephone, our very special guest tonight is Coach Chris LePore, Chief of Staff of the University of Cincinnati men's basketball program. Coach LePore, welcome to Basketball More Than a Game.
Thanks for having me, guys. Excited to be here.
Well, you know what? So are we. And Coach Quick, I know you chomping at the bit. Your Redskins were victorious today, as well as them Lakers look pretty solid. So I'll let you go ahead and open us up.
Yes, sir. First and foremost, I'd like to give a shout out to Coach LaPore and the Cincinnati men's Bearcats football team. A great win yesterday against Notre Dame. You guys are on the way. I feel like you're headed to the playoff situation. Just keep grinding. Just wanted to give that shout out to you first and foremost, Coach LaPore.
Absolutely. We're fired up for our football team. Coach Fickle's done an unbelievable job creating a big-time culture there. And we're as hopeful as ever that they're going to get their shot. But you know, in the post game press conferences, they're talking about one game at a time, and we're trying to have the same approach on the basketball court.
Definitely, yes, sir. Okay, I want to start off with a question for you. First and foremost, your title is Chief of Staff for Cincinnati men's basketball. What are your duties, and how are you enjoying the opportunity this far?
Yeah. So. It's a title that, you know, Coach Miller and I kind of worked on. Obviously, him and I have been together for quite some time. We spent the last 7 years together at Greensboro. And, you know, I'm coming off the road as an assistant coach for him at Greensboro and, you know, stepping into this administrative role at Cincinnati, you know, being quite a big jump from where we were. The nuts and bolts of the job is kind of make sure that things don't fall through the cracks and kind of be the glue guy on staff, right?
Yes.
You know, we have guys on staff who are, you know, new to Coach Miller. So I get fielded a lot of questions. You know, how does Coach like things done with this? How does Coach like things done with that? And you know, so I'm fielding questions all the time. Feel like a project manager sometimes. But you know, day to day. I'm really hands-on with our on-campus recruiting, and obviously our home base of North Carolina. You know, we're going to continue to recruit that area really hard, and so trying to continue to build those relationships and make sure that Cincinnati is on the radar of the top players out of that region, and you know, everything on campus recruiting, official visits, unofficial visits, and then behind the scenes things like, you know, our branding, our social media, you know, our camps, our community engagement. There's a lot that goes into it, but day to day, it's making sure that our ship is headed in the right direction.
Yes, sir. Yeah, and I'm definitely looking forward to much success for you and Coach Miller with the Cincinnati Bearcats. You guys had a stellar record at UNCG. Went to 2 NCAA tournaments, and man, you had 5 straight 20-plus win seasons, finishing 21-9 and 13-5 last season, and crowned both the SoCon regular season and tournament champions. So that's big time. I'm looking forward to great things for you guys at Cincinnati.
No, we appreciate that. Our time in Greensboro was special. I got on with Coach Miller early on, and in the process, you know, he was the youngest head coach in the country at the time when I got on with him. And, you know, our first couple of years together were tough. everybody looks at our, what we've accomplished in the last 5 years and think, man, they were on the gravy train. But the early years were tough. My first season there, we won 9 regular season games. And so, early on it was tough, and we were still trying to establish a culture, and had a couple guys that stuck with us when others transferred. And those guys that stuck with us and believed in what we were doing, they ended up being the first group to cut down nets. And, you see the fruits of that, 5 years down the road, the continued success.
Yes, sir. All right, Coach T, I see you got your man sealed in the paint, so I'm going to throw the bounce pass down to you in the post.
Well, I appreciate that, man, because I didn't want that 3 seconds called on me as I was getting ready to make this serious power move. So listen, Coach LePore, I certainly appreciate you talking about the process that you all had to go through. And if you don't mind, share with our coaches and our up-and-coming players that listen to our show every week. If you don't mind, kind of drop in your toolkit and explain to these guys what it means to go through the process. As you talked about your first couple of years, and people only want to, they don't understand that, sometimes you don't walk in and just win 20 games.
Right. Yeah. When I think about, I get this question all the time, like, how'd you guys do it? What was it? What's the secret? And obviously there's no secret recipe to success, right? But one thing that really sticks out about our time at Greensboro is the retention of our players. And, in a world where transferring is the cool thing to do.
Wow.
And, now even more than ever, you can do it without penalty, and there's more opportunities to leave. And, the last 5 years, all those games that we won, we only had 3 players total enter the transfer portal during that time. And, that's pretty incredible.
Yes.
There were 33 teams this offseason that had 6 or more in the transfer portal.
Wow.
So when you think about being able to keep guys, and you're coaching seniors that were juniors and sophomores and freshmen in your program, hearing the same buzzwords every day, understanding what it takes to win games over time in your system. By the time those guys are seniors, they're helping us lead the team. And, we've had guys, the last 4 or 5 years who in practice, felt comfortable stopping practice and saying, guys, we need to pick it up. Or guys, we need to lock in. Our focus isn't where it needs to be, or our effort isn't where it needs to be. And, when you have a new team every year, I think some of those opportunities are missed.
Wow.
And, so, thinking about the way Coach Miller does things, I think his ability to connect with young people, his ability to connect with our players, obviously they know he's a competitor. They know he's a winner. But I think deeper than that, they really know that he has their back.
You know what?
And, when guys hit adversity, because it's going to happen.
Yes, sir.
You're not going to get the minutes you want every night. You're not going to, get as many shots as you dreamed you might coming out of high school, being your team's leading scorer. And now you're in college, you got to play a role. There's so many ways that adversity can hit. Losing games. You name it. Injuries. But when times got tough, I think the relationship piece that Coach Miller set the example for, and then our staff really tried to make real. At the end of the day, I think our guys really liked being at UNCG, and They felt like they had opportunities to grow, and they had the resources they needed to get better, and ultimately they felt like Coach Miller had their back. And so, thinking about our time, and that's the biggest thing I can think of. Even when we weren't winning 25 games a year, guys stuck with us because they believed in Coach, and they thought it was the best place for them to develop.
Well, you know what?
And obviously, towards the end, we were able to recruit high-level players, but early on in that process, we were, bottom of our league, and it was hard to recruit really high-level players when you're not winning. and when your program's not on the national stage. But having freshmen become sophomores, become juniors, become seniors, and seeing groups stick together, we were able to win games with our culture, and that eventually led to being able to recruit at a higher level, and guys stayed with us, and we were able to cut down nets. So I think that retention piece is so important looking back on our success.
Wow, that's we certainly appreciate that inside look at former UNC Greensboro assistant coach Chris LePore. Coach Quick, man. I mean, think about it. I mean, he was in our backyard. I mean, he was only up. What's that? Come up and jump on 220 and run up to Greensboro. And now these guys in the big time at University of Cincinnati. And one thing I really love that you framed out, Coach, the relationship. The relationship before the task is such a key. So, all right, Coach Quick, I see you got your feet set for this three, so I'm gonna kick it to you.
Yes, sir. Coach LaPore, I noticed that everything. I mean, with you and Coach Miller, it seems like there's a great friendship there, just not a working relationship. And to me, that's important, and that's important for your kids. You guys, I feel like you're adapting that family environment. You had it at UNCG, and I feel like you're taking that same environment to Cincinnati, and that's real key. And one thing that you touched on is big for me is kids staying in the program, because you win with juniors and seniors. And when you've had kids stay together and working together for one common goal, that's big time. So I really appreciate you laying that insight out for us. But my next question for you is, could you talk about name, image, and likeness?
Yeah, sure. And just to comment on the trip down 220. We made that trip plenty of times, heading up to the Charlottesville area, Roanoke.
Yes, sir.
What was Chad Meyer's prep school event that he had in Roanoke? We went up there a couple times. We've obviously been to the Miller School, and so yeah, we've made that trip quite a bit, and it gets foggy up on the north end of 220. So you gotta be driving slow.
Yes, sir. Be careful. Shenandoah Valley doesn't play around.
No doubt. But to get into name, image, and likeness, yeah, it's totally changed. The way things are being done in college basketball. It's brought a whole new element into play. Right now we're kind of seeing things done for the first time, right? These NIL events that outside companies are holding for entire programs to benefit from. There was one held in our facility over Labor Day weekend. An outside company rented out Fifth Third Arena and did a 3-point contest and a dunk contest, and our players were able to benefit from that. And then you're seeing little individual things where somebody drops a clothing line, or a tweet for a local brand, and guys are profiting off of that. Advertising, you name it. I mean, it's opened up a whole new can of worms. And I think for the student athlete, there's new opportunity, and I think it's great to benefit the student athlete. Our whole thing is, hopefully there's enough things in place annually that they can make a big chunk of money in one or two events, that they don't have to spend time throughout, all year chasing these little things. So that obviously they can focus on what truly matters, their education, and of course winning basketball games.
Yes, sir. All right, Coach G, I see you on the break, so I'm gonna throw an outlet pass to you. You take it in and dunk it down for us.
Well, I don't know about that dunk. I've been permanently grounded, so I'll pick it up. I'll just pick it up off of there. So listen, I want to talk about this 2018 award that Coach LaPore was named the National Association of Basketball Coaches Under 30, Under Armour 30 up and coming. What an achievement. And they said that was done by what you do on the court as well as off the court. Your mentorship and how do you impact others. And your professional man and attitude. And in that, Coach, if you don't mind, I want to kind of step outside the lines. How does that affect you as a coach and with your team and you guys serving the community, building that reputation outside of the lines?
Yeah, and it's funny. I didn't even know that I was named to the NABC Under Armour 30 Under 30 until the day it came out. My phone just started blowing up. I had no idea I was even nominated, but apparently Coach Miller and my athletic director had nominated me at the time, and I just thought, okay, they must have just ran out of people under 30 to give the award to. But it comes up all the time. So, I am grateful that I was given the opportunity to be nominated, and that it came to fruition. And I'm 29. I'm staring down the barrel at 30 right now. So my time's about to expire on that award. But no, I think community involvement is so important to the student athlete experience. That's one of my roles on the staff is to actively pursue those opportunities for our student athletes to be involved. Obviously, our summer camps, COVID's kind of gotten in the way of full participation in those the last 2 summers. But that's usually a great way for our student athletes to connect with the young fans of the game. But outside of that, we try to do things like, county reading days where we pop into elementary schools and read books to kids and just try to promote education. And then there's obviously things that are built in within the department for community outreach as well. But that's something we try to actively pursue as a staff to get our guys out in the community. Because truth be told, giving back is really important because we have it pretty good. And giving back is something that's really important to us.
Well, we certainly appreciate it. And again, congratulations on that. And Coach Quick, he said, man, he's 29. I was like, man, I almost got shoes that old. So, but that's all good. So listen, we're gonna jump off real quick and take a break. But before we do, our special guest via telephone from the University of Cincinnati is Coach Chris LePore, Chief of Staff of the University of Cincinnati men's basketball program, and we'll be back after this quick break.
Looking for a smarter way to shop for your insurance for you and your families? Look no further. There is help. With several different companies and plans to choose from, whether it's life insurance or Medicare supplemental plans, finding the right plan has never been easier. Licensed with multiple companies and able to shop various rates, plans to help find the best plan for you and your budget. Independent insurance broker Curtis Jackson is the one to call for help. Call Curtis now at 919-614-5796 for a no-cost consultation. You're listening to Basketball More Than a Game with Coach Goins and Coach Quick.
All right, so listen, we are back, and we are so happy and honored to have on Chief of Staff of the University of Cincinnati men's basketball program, Coach Chris LePore. And for those of you who don't know, but prior to arriving in Cincinnati, he spent some time at the University of Greensboro and those Spartans. So you might have seen him around. He's almost 30 years old, and he's awarded the 2018 Under Armour 30 Under list, meaning he's one of the top up and coming coaches in the profession of college basketball. So, Coach, I want to kind of throw up a couple names to you, and if you don't mind, I call it the name game. So I'll call a couple people's names and just kind of see what's the first thing that pops in your mind.
All right, I'm ready.
All right, Isaiah Miller.
Winner, competitor. He's with the Minnesota Timberwolves right now in training camp, and we are rooting for him every day. This is what he's always dreamed of. He's worked for it, and fired up to see what's next for Zay.
All right. R.J. White.
R.J. White. Maybe the most talented offensive post player I've had the chance to work with. R.J. was one of those athletic but physically strong guys, which is such a rare breed.
Yes, sir.
And he had quite the reputation in the Southern Conference of being a force. He was most recently playing professionally in Spain, and it is still plugging along.
Excellent. And last but not least, Demetrius Troy.
Demetrius Troy, he had a birthday this week, so I actually just talked to him a couple days ago. He's doing great. He's one of the guys that did not pursue professional endeavors after college. He got right into the working world, which a lot of people were surprised by because he had such a good career and helped us win a couple championships there. But he has a great sales job out in Denver, Colorado, and is doing great.
Excellent.
And obviously a Hoop State representative from Raleigh, North Carolina.
Oh, man. Wow. Listen, folks, do you see why Coach LePore is up and coming? I dropped 3 names, and he was able to just basically just like look right over and just like remember the stat sheet right off the bat. So, again, we certainly appreciate you taking those pinpoint questions. Coach Q, I see you, man.
Yes, sir. Hey, if it's okay with you, Coach Goins, can I throw 2 more names out there?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Come on, man. I'm ready for some Cincinnati Bearcat names. Come on, what you got?
Yeah, okay. Yes, sir. That'll work. First name, Keith Williams.
Keith Williams had a great career in Cincinnati. He actually is at Western Kentucky this year. Watching when we first got the job here, going back and watching their games, he was somebody who really, really scored the ball for them on the offensive end. And we actually got a chance to meet Keith on the day of his graduation. We got the job, and then a couple weeks later, he was graduating, and they had a ceremony in the football stadium for the graduates. And so it was nice to have an in-person encounter with him early on as we just got the job.
Yes, sir. Okay. Ian Clark.
Ian Clark, there's a great name. That goes back to the Belmont days.
Whoa.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So Ian's obviously still doing it professionally. That was one of the first guys that I got to, kind of work with every day that really just blew me away in terms of his work ethic. He wasn't a highly touted recruit coming out of high school, but obviously, won an NBA championship with the Golden State Warriors and proved a lot of people wrong. So he's a guy that I talk about a lot, with our current team, and I'll talk about him forever because one of the greatest joys in life is doing what people say you can't do.
Wow.
And he proved a lot of people wrong, and he's still going.
Yes, sir. I remember Ian Clark from that championship team with Golden State, and he came on and helped them out in some of those games to get past the Cleveland Cavaliers, I believe it was, in 2017.
Yep.
So Ian Clark, he's pretty tough. One last name.
Yep.
Jennifer Robbins.
She now goes by Jennifer LaPore because that's the best recruit I've ever saw.
Oh, good answer, Coach. Good answer.
We met playing pickup basketball at UNC Greensboro, and they're 6'1" blonde making threes. I was like, whoa, I got to see what's up. And she wasn't feeling me at first, but kept working. Truly a statement out there that I can recruit. We have 3 little ones now, and they're all fired up for Cincinnati Bearcat basketball season.
Yes, sir. I'm glad you mentioned that because I wanted to know what was it like for you as a father to see your son score his first basket and score his first career points in a youth basketball game this past winter.
Well, he was about 0 for 20 going into the game. So, wasn't sure it was going to happen, to be honest. He was, I don't even think he was 3 years old yet. He was playing in like a 4-year-old league. And I was like, just keep playing hard, buddy. And then the last game of the year, he throws one in, and he's like, Daddy, I'm so good at basketball. I was like, all right, buddy, you're 1 for 25 on the year. We got some work to do.
That's all right.
He's on the way, though. That's for sure.
He's on the way.
Yes, sir. And okay, I wanted to follow that up with another question, if that's okay with you.
Absolutely. I'm ready.
All right. How do you deal with disrespectful players? And before you take a problem to Coach Wes Miller, what would you do to handle it?
Yeah, I'll say this. We've been fortunate that we haven't had many instances like this over the years, because we do a really, really intense job on the front end of, trying to recruit guys that have good attitudes, right?
Yes,
But, negative things and detractors are going to happen over the course of the year. And, to your point, hopefully those things aren't, blown up in a practice where, it becomes a big issue. And, a lot of times those are in more private conversations where it's like, man, I'm frustrated. I'm not playing. I'm not playing well. I'm, this, that, and the other. And a lot of times what I'll do in those conversations is talk about practice. Tell me about practice. Like, or you feel like you have a positive attitude in practice? Sometimes. And then it's like, do you feel like you're guarding well in practice? Because, coach is going to put the guys on the floor that guard the best, because that's the identity of our program. And so for us, practice is always like, you can't hide in practice, right?
Wow.
So when those conversations come up, a lot of times talking through what's going on in practice will help a young man see, like, okay, I see where coach is coming from now. Like, I got to guard better in practice. Like, I got to take practice more seriously. I got to take my pre-practice preparation more seriously. I got to lock in and watch more film, whatever it may be. Practice ultimately is what decides playing time. So that's how we typically handle those situations.
Yes, sir. All right, Coach G, I see you. I'm gonna throw it down to you as you post your man up.
Well, I appreciate it. So listen, folks, we have on none other than Coach Chris LePore. He is the Chief of Staff of the University of Cincinnati men's basketball program, and we'll be back after this commercial break.
Visit our website, coachgoins.podbean.com. Always learn to pass. Process, attitude, sacrifice, satisfaction.
To a young man and their family that we're recruiting, that we felt like we were as good as anybody in player development and human development.
Mm.
And so, when it came to our practice facility and the resources that we had to help a young man reach his goals, to play professionally or give himself a chance to play in the NBA, whatever the goals may be. And, we wanted to recruit and coach guys that want to play professionally. That's important to us. Are we going to have as nice of a locker room as, the quote unquote major programs? Probably not. But you don't choose a school based on the locker room, right? You choose
Correct.
a school based on, this place gives me the best chance to develop. This place gives me the best chance to, be a part of a national brand and win and play in the NCAA tournament. And, at least for competitive individuals, that's where their heads are at. So we got our stuff pretty good at Greensboro. And it took time to get a 24-hour men's basketball practice gym and to have a players lounge and, to do some of the things we did over time. But, to your point, we show up at Cincinnati and you walk into Fifth Third Arena and I mean, you feel it.
Right.
It's
I like that.
It's different. It's different. You feel it right away.
Yes, sir.
And, the first thing you learn is that they sell out 97% of their home games.
Wow.
And it's like, wow. I mean, they pack 13,000 in there every night, no matter who you're playing. I mean, the fan base is just out of this world. And, I think it's one of the things that has just jumped off the page about Cincinnati Bearcat basketball is just the support is real.
Wow.
It is real. And so, it's nice to have all the bells and whistles now.
I can understand.
But, I think for us, we're so accustomed to, we would always watch film on the court because we didn't have a film room. And, we would always eat meals in the lounge because we didn't have a meal room. And, we would cram into offices because we only had, 3 or 4 offices.
Yes, sir.
And, and so now we have all these things, and we kind of got to learn how to use them.
All right, right. Hey, Coach Quick, I'd be like, get out of my office, go to your office, man.
Yes, sir.
But I certainly appreciate you drilling down on that. And again, I know kids are coming there, and it's the wow factor. When I walk into a complex, and I've been in gyms I've seen the HBC schools, and I've seen All Americans play, and you walk in and you go, wow, man, it's college basketball, but then when you're able to walk in, and what I refer to is to have a turnkey program, it is again, you elaborated excellently, and I certainly appreciate taking that question. Coach Quick, I'm going to kick it to you.
Yes, sir. Coach LaPore, what are some of your weaknesses as a coach, and how could you improve? What is your greatest strength, and how does it help you?
Yeah, great question. Great question. Most people would say my greatest strength is my positive energy and enthusiasm, kind of my ability to connect with people and bring people in, and to just kind of see the positive in things and be an energy guy. When we're coming into practice after, a 4th practice in 4 days, and we're grinded out, to come in the gym clapping and ready to go. Right. That's kind of been my MO. I think for my weaknesses, I think I'm still trying to really find my voice on the floor as a coach. And Coach Miller does a great job of giving his assistants opportunities to, quote unquote, like be a head coach of certain drills. Right. And so over the years, from my first time being an assistant coach on the floor, I was like 23, 24 years old. And so I had no idea what I was doing. I was just trying my best, and over time he would give me certain drills that I had a group, and he was like, all right, you're teaching this. And in those situations, you realize, like, man, being a head coach is hard. Yes, I have their attention for 3 minutes, and I've got to get XYZ accomplished, whether it's teaching how to guard a pin down, or teaching help side defense, or teaching box outs. I have 3 minutes with this group of 5 guys. I have to communicate so efficiently. I have to make sure they're locked in, and then I have to make sure that we do it right.
Wow.
Because I only have 3 minutes. Like I got to get it done, and it's got to be pretty much perfect. And in those moments, you realize, man, I got a long way to go. Sometimes I'm done explaining. I look up the clock. There's only a minute and a half left. And so I think as a young coach, how to communicate efficiently, effectively, and to have a voice in moments of adversity, and to really coach the team. And I think that's an area I've got to grow.
Yes, sir. But it sounds like you're very passionate about wanting to do it, and that's how you learn. I remember back after my high school graduation, Coach Salmon and Coach Goins gave me an opportunity to come back and be an assistant coach with them on staff, and because I've always had a desire to be a head basketball coach, but that's how you learn. And being around them every day as a gym junkie, learning from them how they schedule practices, how they go about doing things, that's big time. And for Coach Miller to give you guys that opportunity, that's where you learn and you grow. And I happen to think I can feel your energy just through this interview. So I know you're going to be a great head coach someday.
Well, I appreciate that, and I think ultimately that's Coach Miller's goal. The guys who are assistant coaches for him, he wants all of us to get a chance to be head coaches.
Yes, sir.
No doubt.
That's right. Sitting in that big chair. So, folks, who we have on today is none other than Coach Chris LePore, and he is the Chief of Staff of the University of Cincinnati men's basketball program. And we'll be back.
You're listening to Basketball More Than a Game with Coach Goins and Coach Quick.
As we start wrapping this up, last thing I really want to give a shout out is just kind of piggybacking off of you and Coach Quick's last dialogue is your passion. So from myself and where I sit, and again, it's coaches like yourself that's involved in the young men of today, leaders of tomorrow, that's making a difference. So what I wanted to be able to do at this time is just want to just give our heartfelt number one thank you for what you're doing for these young men on the court, off the court, as well as being a leader. And again, continue to support Coach Miller because a lot of times people don't understand that to be a good head coach, I think that you have to be a very, very dynamic assistant coach. And part of that process is to be able to understand what it takes, the relationship between the young men at your level, and then as you move to the big chair. So in that, we wish you continued success as you move forward in your career in the game of basketball. Coach Quick, I'll kick it to you.
Yes, sir. Coach LaPore, I just want to say thank you for this time and opportunity to be able to sit here and have a conversation with you about basketball, about life. And I follow you on Twitter now. I'll be following you in the Cincinnati Bearcats from this day forward to the time that you get ready to retire, because you didn't have to do this for us, but we appreciate it. You coming on our show and just sitting down having a conversation with us about life and basketball. I wish you guys the best. I bid you Godspeed for a healthy season, healthy and successful season. And if you don't mind, give my regards to Coach Wes Miller. I'm a Tar Heel fan through and through. And I remember him as a 2005 champion, and he really excelled as a senior in 2006. So tell Coach Miller I said what's up, and I bid you guys all Godspeed. Much love and continued success.
Coach,
I will definitely do that. I got to remind recruits when they get to campus, like, hey, Coach Miller, I know he's only 5'11", but man, he could hoop. He won a national championship now. I got to remind him. He shot 45% from three now.
Right.
These kids now were 2 years old when Coach won that national championship.
wow.
So we got to remind them.
Yeah.
But no, guys, I appreciate you having me on. Appreciate the support, and hopefully you guys can stop through Fifth Third Arena sometime. Would love to have you.
Coach, we'll definitely take you up on that offer. And on behalf of Coach G, Coach Chris LePore, the Chief of Staff of the Cincinnati Men's Bearcats basketball program, and myself, Coach Quick, we'll see you in the gym.
You've been listening to Basketball More Than a Game with Coach Goins and Coach Quick. Our podcast is available on podbean.com.